maybe use some of the concept art that they were going to use for Batman 3, which would have actually been showcased during Superman Lives. I think that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, especially lately. I mean, Michael Keaton's been in the spotlight with critical notices of Birdman and a film he did called Spotlight. I would like to see him come back as Batman in video game form. I mean, I don't see how that would be a problem. It would be a great return for one of his classic characters. As far as how they could do it, it's kind of like what you said. I mean, just have a take on the '89 film mixed with Batman Returns. If they can do that, I mean, how many Batman games has there been at this point for the 360 or the current systems?
Four.
I have to mention, of course, the classic Batman game was the original for the original Nintendo system, NES, because that game became so iconic. I've seen a lot of YouTubers talk about how so iconic it was, and the opening scene, how it was so dark and gritty, and in the music, especially on the first level, the music was the song. It was called Street of the Desolation, and I think that game became so iconic because it took those mechanics of Ninja Gaiden, when Batman is jumping on the wall jump, when Batman is jumping on each wall to get up to the next area and everything. I thought it was pretty well done because I remember playing that game a lot. I remember getting it for Christmas back in 1991. So I, of course, a big example for Batman games, of course, the recent Arkham games. Of course, the one that started it all off was back in 2008, Batman Arkham Asylum, and went on to, of course, Arkham City and to Arkham Origins, which was like a prequel, which I think was 10 times better than Batman Begins. And of course, the recent one, which was Batman Arkham Knight, and which I'm looking forward to playing it. I will say, when it comes to a modern day Batman story in recent times, those games, believe it or not, tells the story of Batman 10 times better than Nolan's shitty Batman films. That's my opinion.
You think?
Bring on the hate mails.
Yeah. And you would think that it would be so easy to do now and so accepted, considering that there's so many different, every year there's just so many different incarnations of Batman that are released. Like recently now we have Ben Affleck, but even, just in regular formats, you got like Peter Weller from Dark Knight Returns, then you got like the guy who used to do the animated, who does Arkham Asylum, I think. So Batman's like one of those characters where I think are more embraced on a multi-actor level. Like you can get away with pushing out a Batman with a totally unknown, or even bringing Michael Keaton back. You wouldn't even have to. You could just use voiceover from the films, or kind of like they did with Stallone in the Rambo game.
Yeah, which was kind of disappointing, but I still I saw the gameplay. It was still enjoyable, but I think they should have done more. I think I want to talk about that another time. But anyway, going back, what was interesting, what you just said, I remember seeing a fan trailer of, and they took Michael Keaton's images from the shitty RoboCop remake, believe it or not, and they took the images from Nolan's Batman films. And they took the story, the classic story of The Dark Knight Returns, the comic book where Batman has been away for so long, and he's older and he's out of shape, but he realizes that it has gotten more worse, and he has no choice but to go back. And the way they did it, and they had Michelle Pfeiffer in there from a movie she did called The Family. The way they did it was so amazing, and I really like the last part of that trailer where Michael Keaton says that line, "I'm gonna go with black," and all of a sudden it goes to the Tumblr. I thought that would have been great. So that kind of gave me an image of how Michael Keaton would carry Batman on today, and how he would handle it, especially in the video game world. And going back to the Arkham games, they had this real cool thing, especially the latest Arkham game called Arkham Knight, where you have these DLCs, those add-ons where you can add something in the game from online, and you can actually add the actual Batman suit that Keaton wore in the 1989 film. Even the Batmobile you can ride, the classic Batmobile that you can ride. And when I saw that kind of gave me that epiphany that will be perfect for an actual game of Michael Keaton returning as Batman.
Yeah, imagine that, you hit the button and like the shields come on like.
Then I'd also include like the suit from the '60s show.
Yeah, I think they include all the suits. Yeah.
Oh.
And when we talk about Michael Keaton, I mean, he's definitely, to me, to this day, still the best Batman. I mean, I know people are going to say Christian Bale to the cows come home. I don't give a damn. And we can forget about George Clooney. Let's just, I mean, I don't know what the hell.
What do you guys think of Val Kilmer?
I don't know about Val Kilmer. I like him, but I don't. You know what I mean? It's like one of those.
He was decent.
Yeah.
But I know, like, who else they considered for that role when Batman Forever? I think, like, I forgot what other actors they considered. I swear it was, like, maybe Alec Baldwin or... But I think Val Kilmer was decent. At least they didn't have a smoker's cough.
Yeah.
I just remembered, they actually had thoughts of Mel Gibson.
I think, actually, Mel Gibson was up for Two-Face.
Really?
Yeah.
No surprise.
That would have been amazing. You know, I wish they would have done like a third one and had Billy D. Williams as Two-Face.
Yes, that was the idea. That's why they hired him. If they wanted to do a sequel, they want him to play Two-Face. All of a sudden, they got Tommy Lee Jones, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that was like robbing him.
And Warner Brothers bought out the contract.
Really?
Yeah, he had plans for sequels to return and come back, but Warner Brothers is like, hey, we're going to buy your contract and replace you with Tom Lee Jones.
Oh, that's bullshit. That is such bullshit.
But you know who was actually considered for Billy D. Williams' Two-Face? Harvey Dent, the Batman. The original, I can't say the original, but they did consider Don Johnson for Harvey Dent.
Oh my God.
I can see that.
That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting.
Definitely.
I was watching interview of Kevin Smith, and he was saying that there was a scene they took out of Batman where Batman was riding after the Joker after the courthouse scene or something like that. It was like a day shot of Batman riding a police horse after the Joker, and he threw like a bolero, like one of those ropes with the balls on it, at him. It ended up being in the novelization for Batman.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I thought that was really interesting when I heard that.
But let me ask, has Kevin Conroy, has he provided the voice of Batman in the recent Batman games?
Yeah, he's mostly known for doing it in the animated series, of course, and he's done all the ones for the Arkham games, and of course Mark Hamill, of course, who did his epic return in as Luke Skywalker in The Force Awakens. He's mostly known for the Joker in the animated series, and he provided his voice in the games as well. Mostly,
and he was also in Birds of Prey.
I'm sorry?
He was also on Birds of Prey as the Joker.
Oh, didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because, like, someone mentioned how last year was the year of Mark Hamill. He came back as the trickster, Luke Skywalker, and the Joker.
Mm-hmm. Gold.
Totally gold. That was his year. Yeah. Despite the fact that some of us disagree with the Force Awakens, but yeah, Michael Keaton. I want to get into because I've always adored Michael Keaton. He's one of my favorites. I grew up with the guy. Going back, starting with Mr. Mom to The Squeeze, and then Beetlejuice, of course, and then I remember when my mother told me they were doing a Batman movie, it had Michael Keaton as Batman, Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I got so excited that I remember I was one of the people who went to go see it in the summer of 1989, and it just blew me away. And Michael Keaton did an excellent job. And it showed a different side of him because he was mostly known as the funny man, and it really showed how. Because don't forget, of course, there was some backlash with fans, and he pulled it off, and it led him to do more different type of things, and he went away for a while, and I always loved the guy. Then he came back with Toy Story 3, and the other guys. Of course, like I mentioned, Birdman, Spotlight. He's kind of like Liam Neeson now in a way, so because he's making a huge come. He's hot again now. So I think it would be cool for him to get to be even hotter, to return to a character that got him where he is in the first place, which is Batman, but in the video game world. Of course, he's coming back for Beetlejuice 2, and hopefully that'll be good. And Tim Burton is directing it, I heard, and I remember TMZ, that celebrity channel show. They asked Michael Keaton, who do you like better, Beetlejuice or Batman? He said a simple answer: I like both equally.
And you think about it, like, he does all these roles so great. He always brings something new to it, a new dynamic to it and everything. But when you watch him in Batman and Batman Returns, you know that he was born to play that role. There's just something about him in those movies that psychologically he just brings you in, like, magnetized, you know?
And it's funny because, like, I think at the time Batman came out, they considered every actor under the sun, even comedians like Bill Murray. I'm like, Bill Murray? Chevy Chase?
That would have been interesting, though, Bill Murray. Imagine, it would have been cool to see Bill Murray get really dark. I don't know if he could do it, but...
I don't know if he could do it, but... I mean, he's done some good dramatic work, but I don't think as Batman he would... I
heard they actually wanted Charlie Sheen as either Batman or Robin, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Robin for Batman Forever, because they also considered Mark Wahlberg for Robin and Batman Forever.
Really?
I think like Damon Wayans too.
I could see Charlie Sheen. I could see it a bit if they would have done like a more Nightwing-ish Robin. I could see him maybe a little bit.
What are your? I want to ask you guys' thoughts on the. It's funny how history repeats itself. How in 1989 there was so much backlash and petitions for the casting of Michael Keaton. What are your thoughts on that? And like what happened a couple of years ago with the casting of Ben Affleck?
Okay, I'm going to start with this because I love Batman. You know, when I first heard back in the day when I heard that Michael Keaton was going to play Batman, I didn't understand the backlash. I didn't even hear the backlash until I got older because I didn't understand. I was a little kid. I didn't understand much what was going on, but I remember having a feeling that because I grew up with Michael Keaton he was a funny man, and then I heard he was going to play Batman. Okay, oh cool. And then with the way, and I remember, of course, I saw the movie, and he did a great job. And then later on, I kind of realized how he's gotten so serious. But I really enjoyed his work after that with Pacific Heights and other dramatic stuff along the way. And you know, it's going back and looking back on that now, it was crazy. You know, it was a really crazy time. You know, because the fans at that time, they preferred when they heard they were going to do a movie, they were so excited because they wanted that dark tone. They didn't, because people still saw Batman as the version of the 1960s show. And when they heard that Michael Keaton was going to play the role, it's like, oh, guys, are they going to make it like the 60s show? Of course, there were petitions and there were people protesting outside the Warner Brothers studio and everything. It was a crazy time. But when you look back at what Michael Keaton did, he blew him away. It was like when he said that line, "I'm Batman." It really hits you. It was like back then when the audience heard him say that, it was like they actually bought that he was Batman, and then he blew a lot of people away with that. And going to Ben Affleck, I think he's going to do the same thing. I saw the trailers, especially the fight scenes, and I understand people are bashing because of the voice, but I can understand that. But after what I've seen, it's like it looks. It's interesting you mentioned that line. History is repeating itself, but not in the going away from the criticizing way to the positive side. That he just like Michael Keaton, I think he's going to pull it off.